Hi, this is Joanne with Giardini Medicare, and we team up every month with 60andMe to bring you some useful information about Medicare. All we do is Medicare, and we come to you virtually from Michigan in the United States, and we bring Medicare transition help for those people that are kind of entering the system for the first time. So those could be 65-year-olds, 68-year-olds, whatever. There's a whole gamut of who needs Medicare help, and that's a lot of people. So this month, we thought we'd go through some of the top Medicare snafus and kind of bring you some little bit entertaining ways to kind of help you avoid some of these problems that people have all the time. So let's get right into it. So number one is thinking you have to enroll at age 65. I cannot tell you how many people think that they absolutely have to enroll in Medicare at age 65. That is not true. So there are different situations. If you are collecting Social Security, let's say you filed early at 64 years old, you will be automatically enrolled in Medicare A and B, and that's automatic. That doesn't mean you have to keep Part B. Let's say you're working and you don't need that as your insurance. That's fine. You can actually give it back and go get it later when you need it. So we hear constantly, though, that I thought I had to tell them at age 65 that I either don't want something or I have to just go and file. That's not true. So we try and coach people that here's an example of where you don't even want to go file for Medicare Part A even though Medicare A is free. You don't always want to go get that if you are contributing to a health savings account, for example. So that's a big snafu. We kind of find that people don't understand that. You don't want to enroll in any part of Medicare if you're on an HSA or contributing, making a deduction or contributions to that account. So that's a big misnomer. And there's a great CMS piece that we even put out there, and it just says decide whether or not you should enroll in Part A and Part B. So when the government's using the word whether or not, I think that means it's not quite mandatory, right? So anyway, that's one of the big things. Number two is we get people all the time saying, well, my friend told me that. My friend said I need this. My friend is paying nothing for this. My friend is this or that or this or that. And we kind of joke. It's like we know that when you're this age, you're all out Friday night having cocktails, beverages, dinners, talking about your Medicare plans. So I was just out this weekend with some friends talking about Medicare plans. And, it's a stage of life, right? But you have to kind of temper that and take that with a grain of salt, what your friends are telling you. And yeah, your friend might have a zero premium plan and they pay nothing, and maybe they're extremely healthy and they're not using any of the features in that plan. Again, your friends and your cohorts, it's kind of, we laugh that it's almost like being back in high school where you kind of one up each other, right? Well, I don't do this or I don't do that, or, I have this, that, it's hilarious. So your friends don't always remember every copay that they're paying or things like that. So just really grain of salt. Okay. We always suggest getting a piece of paper, literally write down all the things your friends tell you over the months when you're contemplating Medicare or transitioning into the system, and then run it by an agent and just say, I heard this, what do you think? So that is number two. So kind of disregard, if you will, in a nice way, what your friends are saying. Go to the Social Security office. So in our country, when you go into the Social Security office, you have to understand that that is not Medicare. It's not the Medicare office. Okay. You get bad Medicare advice at times. So they will ask maybe a blanket statement, are you still working? And you answer yes. And they'll say, well, you don't need Medicare then. Well, they don't ask if you have a small employer. Maybe your workplace is only 8 people. Okay, so there's a lot of rules related to the work size of the employer size. So you just can't take a blanket piece of advice. And just because, again, I know you should trust Social Security as an office, but they're Social Security. Okay, they are there to enroll people into Medicare system, and they are there to accept the premiums or collect the premiums, I should say. Okay. So if you want to go into the office, which I would not suggest unless we instruct you need to go in there. Sometimes you do have to, but generally stay away from the office. Okay. So call your agent and say, hey, do I need to do this? What do I have to do? So make sure your agent is talking to you about Social Security items. That's a big thing that people don't pay attention to, that we have an interaction with them. We have to know what forms you need and appeal forms. And there's a lot of integration, but they are not Medicare. Okay. So be careful. Like I said, going to the office, and in fact, just don't go into the office, call us instead. Okay. And number 4, a little bit along the lines of number 1, where you think you're automatically enrolled. Again, thinking you're automatically enrolled. I talked to a gentleman out west a couple weeks ago who he just said he was waiting for his card to show up. All his friends said he'd be automatically enrolled and he's waiting for his card and he needs Medicare. And I'm like, well, are you collecting Social Security? And he said, no. So his card's never going to show up. He has to be proactive. Okay. He has to go to the website or he has to go into the office, which again, go to the website. But he was never going to get his card. So people tell you that it's just going to show up and he's going to be waiting an awful long time. Okay, so that's never going to happen. And the last thing is be careful of what you see on TV. This is always even beyond your friend circle, but we had a lot of phone calls with the famous Joe Namath commercial last October, November. So the commercials are commercials, right? They're designed to sell you stuff. And we understand that they signed up close to 50,000 people on certain plans because of that commercial. I'm going to bet that 45,000 of them don't know what they bought, but everything sounds really, really appealing and it's free and everything is good and golden. And you know what? You're old enough to know that there's no free lunch, right? So temper that, please. Ask questions. Again, get your piece of paper out. Write down, hey, I saw Joe on TV said this is free. What does that really mean? Understand what you're buying. That is our biggest strength, I think, in what we do in terms of getting to the point where people understand what they bought, because it's really important. So you need to take your time with the transition to Medicare. You need to understand, again, we do it in a poking fun way to some degree, but just, again, we hear this stuff every day. And a lot of it is misnomer, it's misunderstanding, and there's no guidebook for this stuff. So they make it, the world kind of makes it kind of difficult, or very difficult, I should say. So take your time, ask a lot of questions. If you're not dealing with an agent who's patient, make sure you find one. There's a ton of really good agents in the country. Medicare is a huge, huge, huge issue today, but it's even getting bigger, as you know, with the headlines going forward. Lots and lots of people transitioning to the system over the next couple of decades. So we are here to help. You can go to our website. My contact information is listed in our profile. Share this with friends and family. And 60andMe does a fabulous job of just bringing you great content, and we're happy to be part of that. Thank you.